and also with the format for the papers. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, that being said, I'm going to hang on a second. I need to check on something. Excuse me just a minute. Alcatel, did you notice that the first chapter of the textbook is actually there in the course, in the Moodle course?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that you noticed that.
Yeah, I printed it off because it's easier for me to look at a hard copy.
I agree. I'm the same way.
Also, you're going to see me. I'm logged in on a PC computer right now.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just kind of doing two things here because I'm trying to figure this out.
You're doing okay so far.
Yeah, I think I'll probably end up getting cut off here on my phone because it's going to die.
So, the religion we're looking at this week is Judaism. And my first question is, has anybody had a chance to read the chapter at all?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, I noticed somebody had already answered the study questions for the chapter.
Yes.
Okay. So, what do you know about Judaism? What can you tell me just off the top of your heads about Judaism?
There's a lot of misconceptions by just thinking about what I've read. They're not so bad. I had a completely different outlook about Judaism, and I don't know, it's completely different from what I thought that they were.
What did you think they were?
Well, I don't know what I thought. I was just talking to my mom about it. I don't think I ever thought anything good just because of like the Holocaust. Just everything you hear about Judaism is negative, and they were hated, and so many were killed and slaughtered, and it never went past that. That was the only thinking and knowledge I had over it. So
I see. Okay.
if that makes sense.
Do you know if you have ever known a Jewish person?
I don't know.
Not that you're aware of, huh?
Right.
Okay. What about you? Anybody else in the class have want to say what they think or what they thought about Judaism? What else? Okay, well, let me put it this way. What else do you know about Judaism?
They only believe that there's one God, and that it's like Christians, like the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. And I think Judaism just believes in one God and that he wasn't ever like a real human.
Right, right.
So that separates us automatically because we celebrate his birth and Easter, and they have their own special days that we celebrate also, but the meaning for them both are automatically different because of the three gods that we make into one, and they only have one.
Right.
That was interesting.
Okay.
I never did that.
Other comments or reflections on what you know about Judaism?
Hey, can you guys hear me? This is
Yes.
Dana.
Okay, yes, we hear you.
Okay, I was out at the lake and I lost track of time, and so I'm using my phone, but I don't know how to get it to where I can see you guys. I can just hear you guys.
Okay. Patricia, can you tell her how to do it on her phone quickly?
Yeah, look at the bottom of the screen, and there will be a camera where you tune in, and you just hit the video camera button.
Okay.
Kind of like when you're doing FaceTime with somebody. Did you go through you got it?
No, I clicked on where it says like the links, and then it says or iPhone one tap, and I clicked that.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, if you tapped it, then it should have worked. Did you have to download it in the Play? Did you download it in the Play Store?
No, I just clicked on.
Okay, it should have that little video camera looking thing, and that's all you should be able to hit to see.
Huh. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna try it again. Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Who is this?
This is Davy.
Oh, hi, Davey.
Yeah, so I'm the blank screen now.
Right.
My phone
Okay.
died, so I don't have no cam.
You're listening. That's the important thing. And
Yes. So I'm here.
I am recording this session
Okay.
so that you'll be able to go back and go into the classroom and click on it and actually watch it later on it from a computer.
Okay.
I didn't record the first session because basically it was just orientation. But I'm recording the session, so you'll be able to pick it up later.
I have no idea, but I can hear you guys.
Okay. We seem to have lost the other lady, Ideal.
Oh, that's Davy. That's me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I told you I'm logged in on.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So we have three of you tonight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. There are 10 people enrolled in the class.
Whoa.
Yeah. Not good.
Wow.
Okay. So Davey's telling us she doesn't know anything about Judaism. Does anyone know in the group, do you know if you've ever known or met a Jewish person?
No, I haven't ever met a Jewish person, but just from what I can, I guess, have a little bit of knowledge is just what I see on TV and what their customs and traditions are around certain holidays, but that's all.
Okay. Anyone else have any experience with Judaism or Jews?
I don't have the experience.
Okay. Okay, so this is a new thing for most of you then.
Yes.
Actually, all of you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Well, then that being the case, I'm going to bore you to death with a lecture to fill in some of the blanks things you won't get from the textbook.
Okay.
Or maybe to help explain some of the things that are in the textbook in a little bit briefer format, because the book likes to go on and on and on,
Mm-hmm.
as books like to do. Hang on, I'm trying to get a PowerPoint ready to go here. So you might want to get a notebook or notes on a computer or on your phone or however you do that, because I'm going to give a brief lecture that you will be responsible for later.
Okay.
Having a little trouble just because we're going to get this all going right. Okay, can you ladies see my screen where it says Judaism now?
Yes.
Yes.
Judaism. Okay, you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to notice the symbols that are here on this slide. Up in the upper left is the Jewish flag with the Star of David. Interestingly enough, David never had a star. King David never had a star. The Star of David was created as the symbol of the Jewish state when it became a state, a country after World War II. But because David never had a star. Then at the bottom left, you see what looks like a sort of a strange word.
I just keep hearing a beeping. Is that someone's phone or?
It stopped now.
Okay.
You see at the bottom left a picture of 4 characters that form a word. That is actually the Jewish word Yahweh, which is the Hebrew word for God, the Hebrew name for God. If you recall, if you studied the Bible or heard Bible stories, Moses, when he was a young man, saw a burning bush. He was really impressed because the bush burned, but it wasn't consumed. And he went to the bush, and God spoke to him through the bush. And God said, I want you to go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Well, Moses said, who shall I say is sent me? You know, what's your name? And God said, my name is Yahweh, which means I am. I am. So what you see there in the lower left corner is the Hebrew word for the name of God. 4 letters. It's called the Tetragrammaton, 4 letters. And it's the Hebrew name for God, Yahweh. Okay. Then on the right, you see menorah, which is a candlestick, also a symbol of Judah. So let's talk first about what is a Jew. First of all, Judaism is a religion. It has a set of beliefs and values. It tries to answer the basic questions of life. Who am I? Where did I come from? What's the world really all about? What's right and wrong? What's true and false? It is a religion. A set of ideas about the world and the way to live our lives. But there's a lot of flexibility in those beliefs. All Jews do not believe the same thing. Just as all Christians have different perspectives on what it means to be a Christian. And just as in native religion, there are lots of different names for God, depending on the tribe. A lot of different views about what God is like, depending on the tribe. So even in Judaism, there's flexibility in belief. What may come as a surprise to some of you is that many who call themselves Jews do not believe in any religion. For them, it's more their family heritage or their cultural heritage. Just as some native persons would say they're Osage or they're Cherokee or they're Pawnee, but do not practice the cultural or customary ways of their tribe. They're non-cultural. but they would still consider themselves to be of that tribe. Well, Jews do the same thing. There are Jews who do not believe in any religion, but follow the cultural and traditional practices. They are called secular Jews because they are not concerned about the religion of Judaism. They are simply identifying themselves by their heritage, their customs, their traditions, and maybe their family inheritance.
Because I dropped my kids off with my out of the lake, so I do my Zoom meeting.
Hello?
My class with my professor.
What am I hearing?
Hello.
Shannon, we can hear you talking.
All right, guys. I'm trying to head to my house. I can on my laptop so I can see you guys, and I got pulled over. I'm sorry.
Okay. Judaism was once a race. It was once a line, a heritage, a race of people. In the 1980s, the Supreme Court said, yes, Jews are a race. It is a racial designation. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I know my face. Okay. But Jews don't like this. Jews don't like being referred to as a race because Hitler attempted to kill the Jewish race, right? So they don't like to refer to themselves as a race. They see themselves as a family or a group. Race is a genetic distinction. I'm white Anglo because that's my genetic inheritance. You folks represent your various native tribes because that's your genetic inheritance. That's your race. But Judaism and Jews are no longer a race. You can be a Jew without any Jewish ancestry because Judaism is a tradition or a religion that you can embrace, just as you can choose to be a Christian or not. You can be a Jew or not. Okay, is that clear?
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So Judaism, back up so we get this. Judaism is a religion. It was once a race. But Judaism primarily now is a culture. Second, and that's where the secular Jews are. Just as there are lots of people in America who aren't Christians, but they celebrate Christmas, right?
Right.
Okay, so for them, it's a cultural thing. So their food, the use of the Yiddish language, the celebration of the holidays, and cultural values are simply a culture, a tradition, a heritage that you carry on. Judaism can be thought of as being like an extended family. Jews are a nation. There is a nation of Israel, right? You know. But Jews do not consider themselves a political nation. They have a common history, a common destiny, a sense of connectedness. In 1968, after the Six-Day War, Moshe Dayan, who was the commander of the Israeli army, said, "A Jew is anybody who wants to be one." Unlike your own experiences where you have to be able to trace your heritage and prove your tribe, Judaism is something you embrace or not.
Mm-hmm.
We have common ideas, common ancestry, and a culture with room for a lot of diversity. And Jews are very communally oriented. They have this tremendous sense of being connected with each other. So that prayers are normally in the plural. Jews don't pray I or me or my. They pray we, ours. It's always in the plural. They think of themselves as connected to each other. Holidays are very communal. We'll talk about probably another time we'll talk about, and Dr. Wiley in one of his lectures will talk about some of the Jewish holidays that are celebrated, right? When Jews are persecuted, they all feel a sense of suffering. If one of them suffers, they feel like they've all been punished. When a Jew does something wrong, they all feel shame and embarrassment because they feel so connected. When a Jew excels or does well, they all feel very proud, just as you would with your family. So let's talk about then what do Jews believe? There was a rabbi by the name of Rambam, which is an interesting name, isn't it? Rambam, who basically listed 13 things that Jews believe. And I can tell you on one of your quizzes, you will be asked to identify the 13 things that Jews believe. So it would be good for you to listen. That's a friendly hint. First of all, Jews believe that God exists. Okay? That there is a God and he's alive. They don't need any proof. They don't need arguments. They don't need evidence. How does the Bible begin? What are the first words of the Old Testament in the book of Genesis? In the beginning, God, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There's no argument about it. No attempt to try to prove it. Jews just simply accept that God exists. Mm-hmm. The Torah begins, in the beginning, Elohim, or that's one of the Hebrew words for God. In the beginning, Elohim created. Secondly, as was Patricia said a moment ago, Jews believe that God is one. Only one God, no others. And he's too high and too holy and too pure and too perfect to ever become human. In fact, one of the most famous teachings of Judaism is called the Shema. It's found in the book of Deuteronomy in the Bible, in the 6th chapter. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Now, it's called the Shema because the Hebrew word for hear is Shema. Isn't that interesting? So, the foundational, basic truth is, whoops, I'm not sure what happened there. Did I lose you?
No.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened there.
Just, we can hear you.
Okay, there it is. It's back. You now?
Yes, we can see that now.
So God, there's a God. There's only one God. My computer seems to have frozen. Okay. Then, actually, this should be point number 3. It says 2, but it should be number 3. This God created everything. Everything is from God. Now, I want you to notice something. When I wrote out the word God here, what do you notice?
There's no O.
Yeah, the vowel is missing, right? The O.
Yeah.
Okay. I did that because up in the upper left corner, you've got that word that I told you about earlier, Yahweh, the name for God.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the consonants. There are no vowels in Hebrew. In the original Hebrew language, there were no vowels.
Okay.
The vowels were added later to make it easier to read. But in the original Hebrew, there were no vowels. So I wrote out the name God, G-O-D, without the O, because that's the way they would write it. Okay? Everything is from God. Everything is created by God. Everything comes from him. Isaiah 45, I am the Lord, and notice how I wrote that again. There is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I am the Lord that does all these things. So the third point is that God created everything. Fourth, God is spirit. God has no body, no physical makeup, no physical appearance. So here's your big word for the night that you can impress people with. All of the descriptions in the Bible about the mighty hand of God, or the throne of God, or the arm of God, or the hand of God. If God has no body, then he doesn't have hands or arms or feet. He's a spirit. So this big word you see in front of you, anthropomorphic. Okay, let me break that down. The first part of the word anthropo, it means man. And the morph means shape. So the Bible tries to describe God in ways that we can relate to him. It gives him man's shape to describe him. Because for us to try to just talk about a spirit that has no shape, no form, nothing, we can't relate to that. So the Bible puts God in anthropomorphic terms. So there's your big word for the night. When you log off, you can talk to your friends, your family, and say, did you know God is, the terms in the Bible are anthropomorphic? Now be careful who you say it to, they might smack you.
Okay. Doesn't that come from the word anthropomorphism, given human characteristics to any being, like cartoons, making them real?
Yep, that's exactly right.
I know that word.
Well, way to go, Patricia. So the terms that are used to describe God, like the hand of God and so on, are really figures of speech, because God is spirit. It makes him understandable in a material world. Okay? So God is spirit. This is the part that will blow you away. God has no gender for a Jew. Now, how would we describe the gender of God?
Male.
Right. God is our what?
Father.
Father. Okay. Well, God has no physical form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No body, no genitalia. So the idea of gender is really kind of absurd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it is the physical form that determines male and female, right?
Right.
Yes.
Masculine terms for God are convenience, because there is no Hebrew neuter tense. They don't have a word that you can use to describe a neuter object. Everything is male or female in Hebrew. Even inanimate objects have gender. Chairs, tables, walls, floors, dogs, cats, trees. In the Hebrew, every word has gender. Everything is either male or female. God is omnipresent. Anybody know what that means?
He's in various places at the same time.
Well done. In all places, at all times, all at the same time. He fills the whole universe, but he's bigger than the universe. Yet the amazing thing is that God is near us, close to us, listening when we call, right? So here's this God who is bigger than the universe.
Yes.
He's all over. He's every place in the universe all at the same time, but still he hears us when we call him.
Right.
God is omnipotent. That means he can do anything. All powerful. The only thing beyond God is our free will, because he chooses not to force us. God won't make us do anything. He gives us free will. So the only thing he can't do is force us to do something, because he chooses not to. He could force us, but he doesn't. God is also omniscient, which means he knows all things, past, present, and future, including, here's the scary part, our thoughts. That's the part we really don't want to think about sometimes, that God even knows what we're thinking.
Right.
You've all heard the old expression, well, they can't get you for what you're thinking. Well, God is eternal. He transcends time. He's not limited by time or space. He has no beginning and no end. That's what eternal is. No beginning and no end. And he always, always, always keeps his promises. God is eternal. God is just and merciful. God's justice is always tempered with mercy. So you don't always get what you have coming to you because God is merciful. You don't always get just desserts. You don't always get the consequences of every action because God is merciful. And in God, these two qualities are in perfect balance. God is our Father and our King. We are all God's children. Our mother and father provide our physical appearance and makeup, our size, shape, color of hair, color of eyes, so on. But God provides our soul, our personality, and even our intelligence. I wish you would have given me some more. A little more IQ would have been helpful.
I think you got it.
So those are somehow I got off my numbering, but those are the 13 things that Jews believe. So I'm going to stop the lecture now and come back to discussion. So did I go so fast you didn't get it?
No, I think I could go back and look at the recording if I need to.
Okay. That's exactly why I wanted to record this, to give you an opportunity to do that if you needed to. Because I understand that we only have about 40 minutes that we're allowed on a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And so on other nights, we'll have two sessions. We'll have a session for 40 minutes, take a short break, and then come back for a second session. We're not going to do that tonight because I'm still trying to let everybody get used to the technology and how this works. But let me remind you about the assignments. You have a chapter to read if you haven't done it yet. You have questions to answer about the chapter.
Okay.
You have a paper to write, and it's due by Saturday. You have 4 lectures to do online. Those video lectures, basically you click on that link and it takes you to the YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
You have questions to answer about the lectures. Okay?
Okay.
So you got questions about the reading, questions about the lectures. You have a paper due, and I'm going to let you off the hook for the quiz this week. Since we're just getting started.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so when we're writing our papers, each paper that we have to write for, is it the week or is it the chapter?
Yes. Each week you will have a paper to write for that week.
Okay, and that paper, that's what you want us to write in
Terbian format.
that format?
Right.
Terbian format?
5 pages.
5 pages, okay. Okay.
Okay, we're about out of time, so we will meet next Tuesday, same time. There will be a link in the class for a new link in the class for the next meeting.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I'll look forward to reading your papers on Sunday.
All righty, have a
Thank you, folks.
All right.
then.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.